Je m'appelle Patty. C'est difficile à parler français quand vous ne l'utilisez pas. It's hard to speak French when you don't use it. And I dream in French still sometimes. Sometimes I taught in French. Lindy would go, "Oh my God, Patty, you were so serious and you were teaching in French." I lucked out because I got a job up at Prairie High School. The woman who taught French and English got a different job, and so I applied there, and the person who ended up hiring me did not want me, but the principal, who was new that year, had been there when I interviewed, and he wanted me, so they got me. So I taught French and English the first several years that I was up there, and spent the next 26 years teaching up at Prairie High School, which I loved. It was fun. The SU papers, the shut up papers, or sit on a heater paper. You're not allowed to sit on a heater. You're not allowed to say shut up in my classroom. I just think it's totally disrespectful. And I know that most kids don't think anything of it when they say it. But I disliked it intensely, especially after the one person that started it. That's all she said. Every time she opened her mouth, "Oh, shut up. Oh, shut up. Oh, shut up. Oh, shut up. Next time you do it, you're going to write a paper." "Oh, shut up." Well, she did. She wrote a paper. And then that started it off. So towards the end, I had a lot of funny ones where I had a shut up paper on a toilet paper roll. I had a shut up paper on a tire. I had shut up papers on dollar bills. I had a shut up paper on a well drilling thing. I had shut up papers turned backwards, so you had to look in a mirror to look at them. I got a lot of shut up papers. I probably had over 1,000, and I still have them. I did not get rid of those. I still have those. Anyway, I enjoyed doing that, but I'm thoroughly enjoying not doing it anymore. And that was my teaching career. People retire and then they die, and I'm going, no. I didn't retire to just go fade off into the woodwork. I'm going to go do stuff. So first thing, I get up and I play my games on the computer. That's what I love doing, that in the morning. There's 3 or 4 games that I just really enjoy playing. And then, like today, I walk. I usually walk 2 miles every day. And I got a mile, and the pond looks so nice. So I walked back and got the pickup and put the kayak in it, went down and kayaked for an hour because it was beautiful. It was 59 degrees down there. I'm going, you can't waste this. So kayaking, I do a lot of kayaking. I love the water. I mean, I love all the elements of the earth. I like the wind, I like the earth, I like the fire, I like the water. The water is my favorite though. But I can sit out in the fire pit for hours, drink a beer and just kick back and relax. But the water, I'll do the same thing. I'll take down. See, we planted a tree for Judy Ullorn, and Vicki and Aaron planted a tree for Jim Tonis. So whenever I go down, I always tip a beer to both of them. Here, Jude. Here, Jim. Here you go. This is for you guys. So, yeah, that's a pond thing. And I swim down there a lot. And if I go to Dworshak, I swim a ton too. I just love the water. I used to swim in Alaska all summer long. You couldn't get me out of the water, It's just a part of me. I read voraciously still. I have 2 Kindles now. One Kindle I use for a couple of games that I play. So at night, if I feel like it, then I'll play on the Kindle up here instead of down in my office. And the other one I usually use for the books because I have to read. I have to read. Mom couldn't have kids, so they adopted my older brother first. And in 1951, they got the phone call from the doctor saying that there was a little girl that they could adopt if they wanted her. And so they flew out to Seattle and picked me up. And what's interesting, I met the doctor who delivered me. Later on, he came up to Juneau on a cruise ship, and so we got to meet him. He delivered all three of us. And then Mom and Dad brought the three of us home every 2 years. And that's how we came to live in Juneau, Alaska. I was the special one because I was the only girl. So I was spoiled. I could do nothing wrong until I did. And then, all hell broke loose, but it was okay. It smoothed over really quick because I was the pretty little girl. Dad loved me. Mom was the one that had to do the spanking. His dad wouldn't. But other than that, later on as I was growing up, when I was in the 8th grade, I started cooking dinners because Mom went to work. And then I started working for the state when I turned 14, and I didn't quit working for the state until I was 22, 21. Yeah, because then I was down here. But that was pretty much my role. But I didn't have to do all the cleaning. The boys had to do every bit as much as I did. That was one thing that I really appreciated. So, yeah. Not an easy life, but it was a good life. Well, my mother was very Irish. She had a temper. And Dad was very quiet, very reserved. He ended up being a Supreme Court justice for the state of Alaska. Extremely fair man. And Mom was pretty fair too. They were good parents. Not perfect parents, but they were good parents. Dad used to take me out to breakfast every year on my feast day. We'd go to Mass and then we'd go to St. Patrick's Day breakfast. He always took each one of us out on our feast day. So Timothy was St. Timothy and Tony was St. Anthony. And so on the feast days, he would take us out to breakfast and Mass and breakfast. Yeah, before school. That was always pretty cool. Mom and Dad are both gone now, but they always treated us as if we were their children. And one of the things that they used to say at night, every night before we go to bed, and this is from whenever I can first remember, but there was a poem, and it was not bone of my bone nor flesh of my flesh, but still miraculously my own. You weren't born under my heart, but in it. So that's been, when Mom died, we put that on her card because that was always a part of our life. We used to live in Juneau, and then we moved across to the island, Douglas Island, and we lived up on 5th Street, which my brother still lives in the same house. And I remember Mom going off to work one time, and I was probably 8 years old, and I decided, because it was nice out, I don't want to go to school. I want to go play the Lone Ranger in Tonto, because we had big dirt piles out there, because we'd done nothing yet with the yards. And so I told Mom I was sick, and I stayed home. And the minute she left to go to work, I went outside and played the Lone Ranger in Tonto. Because when we were growing up, we didn't have TV. We had the radio, and the Lone Ranger was always on the radio. So I grew up with the Lone Ranger, and that was what I loved to do, horses, Never saw a horse, but I had little horsies in the dirt, and there was a Lone Ranger in Tonto going. So that, I was ornery, yeah. When I met Lindy, we met my freshman year at Gonzaga. His twin sister and I were roommates. And so they came up for a fraternity thing, skip or something. So anyway, they called up Cindy and said, can you get a bunch of girls together and we'll go party? And so she did. And so we went down to the entrance to the Catherine Monica's dorm. And Lindy was laying on the floor watching TV. And he turned over to look at Cindy, and I thought, oh, he's cute. I thought, I'd like to marry him. And that was when I met Lindy. And then we had 2 actual dates before we got married. The first one was at a fraternity hee-haw party. I have pictures of it, and I dance. And the second one, he called me up and he said, why don't you take the bus down to Lewiston and I'll pick you up, and then we'll go down home and, just have some fun. And I thought, oh, that sounds fun. So, and that was my sophomore year. And so I got on the bus, but I was really sick. And I wasn't going to tell him that because this was a date. So he met me down in Lewiston and brought me home to his parents' place, and they ended up taking me into the emergency room because I was so sick. I didn't get a date. I was sick. Darn it. So I had one date with him before we got married, actually, in 4 years. We had lots of fun together, but always with a big group of people. It was never... He's a pretty laid-back person, but he's serious. And if he has a beer or 2, he gets really cute, funny. But he has a healthy respect for people, too. His kids, family, it hurts him when somebody does something that's really off. He was a good provider. He enjoys retirement, too. We enjoy retirement together, which is a plus, because neither one of us were too sure what it was going to be like when we were both home. So far, that's turned out pretty good. He's just an all-around good guy. Loves to dance. I do like that about him, because when we go anywhere for the past 46 years, we dance, and I don't care how old I get. I want to be able to dance. I'll take my walker out there. I don't care. But that's Lindy. He's just, he's an all-around good guy. Most people like him. There aren't too many that don't. So I was pregnant when I got married, which was neither here nor there, but it was interesting because we were up on the altar getting married, and Zach kicked. I said, Lindy, the baby just kicked. He goes, well, I guess he's glad we're getting married. So that was our wedding day. It was nice. It was beautiful. Lindy's aunt did my flowers, and they were beautiful, and Eleanor made my dress, and that was beautiful, and Lindy was cute, handsome, And then we had to go down to Boise that night, and I was furious with Lindy because he was supposed to make reservations in McCall. And we get to McCall, and I said, did you make reservations? No. We went everywhere to find a hotel. The only thing that was available were twin beds. We drove to Boise. We got to Boise at 4:30 in the morning. I wasn't happy. That was on my wedding day, too. I was not happy. Anyway, that was my wedding day. It was a good day. I think it's always exciting to find out. It's exciting to find out that you're going to be a mom, but it's scary as heck, too. So, didn't know what to expect. And I didn't like being pregnant at all. I did not like it. I slept 2 hours a night. That's all the sleep I got. And I had restless leg syndrome, which at that time they didn't have any idea what that was. And at that time you didn't have to not drink. So my doctor would tell me to drink a glass of wine or 2 to stop the legs from... Well, that didn't help. Maybe a bottle would have helped, but I didn't do that. I used to run up and down the stairs, and nothing helped. It was awful. So 2 hours of sleep a night for all 4 pregnancies, every one of them. Well, Zach is the oldest. He is 45 now, and he was born in November. And I remember we decided to call him Zachary, And my mom was furious. She goes, "What in the world are you calling him that for? That's not a good name." I said, "Mom, it's a biblical name. What's the matter with it?" Well, he's grown into it. Zach is Zach. There's no way around it. And then I didn't nurse Zach, but he had volatile vomiting. And so I thought, okay, with the second one, Jake, I would try nursing. Oh, no, that didn't work. 3 months of mastitis and sicker than a dog. And he had colic the whole time. So we put him on formula. Oh, colic's all gone. Tracy, when she was born, she just popped. We had to wait though because it was in triple overtime for, was it Wazoo? A basketball game? Lindy goes, "Can you wait?" Okay. So she came 2 hours, not even 2 hours after I got to the hospital. It was just boom. And she was the easiest. Then we had Gabe. Gabe had an aneurysm that broke when he came through the birth canal. So he had cerebral palsy. And he couldn't talk until he was probably first grade. He took a speech board to school with him to tell the teachers what he wanted or needed. And you'd never know that now, but I mean, he's got a college degree and takes care of his autistic son, and he takes care of a lot of other kids who have emotional problems. So he's done quite well too. So the kids have all done well, even though I didn't like being pregnant with them. Yeah. I think just to be straight with people. Don't play up to them, don't play down to them, just be straight with people. I think that's what made me love teaching, was because if you're straight with people, they usually are straight with you. It's called respect. So I think respect is an important part of life. Today we don't have a whole lot of it. I had a great teaching career. I have good friends. Those are all accomplishments that, some people don't have. And to me, I've been married for 46 years. I've never killed anyone. And teaching, you could. But no, I mean, all of those are accomplishments. There's not one that's better than any other. They're all just a part of that. I've had a good life. I can't complain.